African Union Communications Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals intelligence and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoy, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command in combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing. On the progress of the special military operation as of December 14, 2025. The armed forces of the Russian Federation continue to conduct a special military operation. Units of the North Group of Forces inflicted a defeat on the formations of the Armed Forces of Ukraine Jaeger Brigade and the Territorial Defense Brigade in the areas of the settlements of Alexievka and Rizevka in the Sumy region. On the Kharkiv direction, a defeat was inflicted on the units of the Armed Forces of Ukraine Heavy Mechanized Brigade, Assault Regiment, Territorial Defense Brigade, and two National Guard brigades in the areas of the settlements of Veliky Biroluk, Vilcha, Okremovka, and Prilipka in the Kharkiv region. The enemy's losses amounted to over 240 servicemen, a combat armored vehicle, 5 vehicles, and 2 warehouses of material. Units of the West Group of Forces continue to destroy the surrounded enemy group on the left bank of the Oskol River. A defeat was inflicted on the manpower and equipment of 2 mechanized brigades, an assault regiment of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements of Blagodatovka, Kupiansk-Zlovoy, Petrovka, Podoli, Shikovka in the Kharkiv region, and Red Lyman in the Donetsk People's Republic. The Armed Forces of Ukraine lost up to 220 servicemen, a combat armored vehicle, an M113 armored personnel carrier of U.S. production, 13 vehicles, a 155mm self-propelled artillery piece M198 of U.S. production, a launcher of the Heron multiple rocket launcher system of Croatian production, and 3 ammunition warehouses. Units of the South Group of Forces have taken more advantageous positions. A defeat was inflicted on the formations of 5 armed forces of Ukraine mechanized brigades in the areas of the settlements of Konstantinovka, Nikiforovka, Reznikovka, Seversk, Slavyansk, and Stepanovka in the Donetsk People's Republic. The armed forces of Ukraine's losses amounted to up to 150 servicemen, a combat armored vehicle, an M113 armored personnel carrier of U.S. production, 13 vehicles, and a 155mm self-propelled artillery piece Paladin of U.S. production. Units of the Center Group of Forces continue to destroy the surrounded armed forces of Ukraine formations in the area of the railway station, the northeastern and western parts of the city of Dmitrov in the Donetsk People's Republic, as well as the clearance of the settlements of Grishino and Svetlo in the Donetsk People's Republic and Novopavlovka in the Dnipropetrovsk region. A defeat was inflicted on the manpower and equipment of 3 armed forces of Ukraine mechanized brigades, a Jaeger brigade, an airborne brigade, 2 airborne assault brigades, a drone system regiment, and 2 assault regiments in the areas of the settlements of Belitsko, Grishino, Krasnoyarsko, Novoalexandrovka, Rodinsko, Turetsko, Shevchenko in the Donetsk People's Republic, and Novopavlovka in the Dnipropetrovsk region. The enemy lost up to 495 servicemen, a Kazakh armored vehicle, a pickup truck, and a field artillery piece. Units of the East Group of Forces continue to advance into the depth of the enemy's defense and have completed the liberation of the populated area of Varvarovka in the Zaporizhia region. A defeat has been inflicted on the live forces and equipment of 2 assault brigades, 2 assault regiments of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, a Marine brigade, and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the populated areas of Andriivka, Gavrilovka in the Dnipropetrovsk region, Vozvezevka, Guliapol, Kosovtsevo, Lubitsko, and Ternavado in the Zaporizhia region. The enemy lost more than 300 servicemen, a combat armored vehicle, 5 vehicles, and an electronic warfare station. Units of the Dnieper Group of Forces inflicted a defeat on the formations of the Armed Forces of Ukraine's Mountain Assault Brigade and Territorial Defense Brigade in the areas of the populated areas of Orkhov, Razumovka in the Zaporizhia region, Dniprovsko and Nikolsko in the Kherson region. More than 45 servicemen, 6 vehicles, 2 artillery pieces, an electronic warfare station, and 2 warehouses of material resources were destroyed. operational and tactical aviation, strike unmanned aerial vehicles, and missile and artillery units of the armed forces of the Russian Federation inflicted a defeat on fuel depots and temporary dislocation points of Ukrainian armed formations and foreign mercenaries in 142 areas. Air defense systems shot down 4 guided aerial bombs and 290 fixed-wing unmanned aerial vehicles. In total, since the beginning of the special military operation, the enemy has lost 669 aircraft, 283 helicopters, 102,637 unmanned aerial vehicles, 639 anti-aircraft missile systems, 26,531 tanks and other armored fighting vehicles, 1,631 MLRS combat vehicles, 31,891 field artillery guns and mortars, 49,012 support military vehicles. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.